Hello, Mr. Ertug. In this episode of our interview series with our R&D manager, our topic is plasticizers. What is a plasticizer? What are its functions and types? We are evaluating all aspects together. Let me ask the first question right away. What is the role of plasticizers in PVC?
If you consider PVC on its own, it is actually a hard and brittle material. What turns it into the flexible, bendable, and trimmable edge banding is the plasticizer. Plasticizers enter between polymer chains, weakening their attractive forces and secondary bonds. This allows the chains to slide over each other more easily. As a result, it lowers the glass transition temperature, keeping the material soft and increasing its flexibility. But it does not form chemical bonds. It is physically trapped. If you choose the wrong one, it migrates to the surface over time, sweats, and can change color. There are two main groups of plasticizers: primary plasticizers like dioctyl terephthalate and secondary plasticizers like epoxidized soybean oil.
So which of these types you mentioned is more common now, and how was the situation in the past?
In the past, phthalate-based plasticizers were widely used. Their use decreased entirely due to health and regulatory pressure. In the edge banding sector, not only dioctyl phthalate, but also disononyl phthalate was used. These plasticizers were cheap, efficient, medium phthalate-type plasticizers that worked on every machine, and they were added to the list of substances of very high concern due to their effects on reproductive health. Especially for indoor items like furniture, which people constantly touch, this has become unacceptable. Dioctyl terephthalate is chemically an isomer of phthalates, but it's a terephthalate, not an orthophthalate. It avoids that health burden entirely. A phthalate-free, REACH-compliant plasticizer that can be safely used indoors. In short, dioctyl terephthalate can be thought of as the clean version of dioctyl phthalate. Epoxidized soybean oil is a dual-identity material. It is completely plant-based and renewable, but its main feature is acting like a plasticizer and working as a secondary stabilizer. When processing PVC, it tends to release hydrochloric acid due to heat, which triggers a chain reaction of degradation. The epoxy groups in the epoxidized soybean oil molecule capture and neutralize this released hydrochloric acid, so it kills two birds with one stone by softening and protecting. Moreover, it is suitable for food contact and has a very harmless toxicological structure.
If we compare dioctyl terephthalate and epoxidized soybean oil, what would you say?
Health-wise, the main goal is avoiding phthalates and heavy metal systems. Since dioctyl terephthalate is a non-phthalate, you can safely use it anywhere, from nursery furniture to kitchen cabinets. Epoxidized soybean oil is a plant-based material with food contact-approved grades. Its toxicity is hardly even debated. Both are phthalate-free and heavy metal-free. In terms of production efficiency, dioctyl terephthalate is a primary plasticizer with high plasticization efficiency. You only need a small amount to achieve a certain level of softness. Epoxidized soybean oil has lower plasticizing efficiency, but its real contribution is indirect. It boosts thermal stability, widens the processing window, and cuts the need for main stabilizers. Think speed for dioctyl terephthalate and process safety for epoxidized soybean oil. Dioctyl terephthalate's main strength is durability. With low volatility, it won't harden over time. It stays flexible in the cold and resists the weather. Epoxidized soybean oil has excellent migration resistance. It prevents surface sweating, known as blooming, that white layer formation, along with tackiness. It improves dimensional stability and boosts color stability during long-term heat aging. Also, the idea that more plasticizer is always better is simply wrong. However, too much has the opposite effect. It lowers the glass transition temperature too much, migrates to the surface, causes sweating, and makes the tape sticky. For profitability, dioctyl terephthalate is a plasticizer with stable pricing and supply security. For epoxidized soybean oil, things are more complex. Its price is directly tied to the soybean oil commodity market. It fluctuates with harvests, exchange rates, and global supply. But there is a gain here that is being overlooked. Since epoxidized soybean oil also acts as a secondary stabilizer, it reduces your consumption of expensive primary stabilizers. So, Calling epoxidized soybean oil expensive based on a single item is misleading. We need to look at the total formulation costs.
Apart from the plasticizers you mentioned, what other types are there? Could you briefly explain?
There are 4 more types. One is acetyl tributyl citrate, a citric acid-based, bio-based, and highly safe plasticizer. It's food and toy approved, making it highly valuable for green, sustainability-focused projects. The downside is it's pricier and more volatile. So, it's usually blended with other plasticizers in the right ratio. Secondly, trimeletates. Since their volatility is very low, they stay in place even under heat and provide long-term thermal resistance. For edge banding, this is a specific need, but it makes a difference in high-temperature applications. The cost is also high accordingly. Third, adipates and sebacates are excellent for low-temperature flexibility. They prevent the tape from becoming brittle in the cold. They are usually added in small amounts to assist the primary plasticizer, because using them alone is expensive and risky in terms of volatility. Fourth, polymeric plasticizers are high molecular weight materials. Their greatest strengths are durability and migration resistance. They're preferred for applications touching other plastics or oily surfaces, where sweating is unacceptable. However, they have low efficiency, are hard to process, and costly, so they're only used for specific needs.
Looking to the future, which direction does the plasticizer side seem to be heading?
We're moving toward renewable, bio-based, and low-migration plasticizers. Environmental pressures and regulations are getting stricter every year. Now customers are demanding a green transformation. The share of plant-based materials like epoxidized soybean oil may increase, joined by next-generation bioplasticizers. Dioctyl terephthalate will likely stay in the field long-term as a phthalate-free backbone because its performance-to-cost ratio is still very strong.
And finally, what assurance do you provide to customers regarding the content?
In all edge bands we produce as tejer, regardless of which plasticizer we choose, cadmium and cadmium compounds, polybrominated biphenyls, and polybrominated diphenyl ether class substances, chlorinated paraffins, polychlorinated biphenyls, polychlorinated naphthalenes, organotin compounds, asbestos, azo compounds, and polyfluoroalkyl substances, and formaldehyde. That is the real logic behind our choice of dioctyl terephthalate and epoxidized soybean oil that we just discussed. Choosing the right plasticizer is not just about adjusting flexibility, but being able to sign this declaration with peace of mind.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ertu. It was truly a very comprehensive and technical interview. Thank you for the valuable information you shared.
Thank you. I hope this information will be useful for industry professionals and users.